Hi everyone, welcome to Tony Fox Tarot. Thanks for joining me today and great to have you with me. Before we get started on today's reading, if you're interested in becoming a Patreon subscriber, you can go down below into the description box. There's plenty of information on how to go about doing that. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to this video. Before you on the screen, we have the different symbols to choose from. And once you've made the choice of your symbol, that will be your reading. It's perfectly fine to choose more than one symbol that comes through for you strongly today. And remember, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave behind anything that doesn't. I'll leave you to make the choice of your symbol. And once you've done that, down below are the timestamps to navigate to your reading. And I will see you in a moment. Hi everyone, welcome to symbol number 1. This is your reading. We're looking at whether this person is going to contact you today. So let's jump in and have a look and see what's going on. I'm going to start here with the Tower and the Knight of Wands, looking at the other person in the past. I get a sense here that this is a really fast-moving situation where, quite out of the blue, this person has decided that they've had enough. They've bailed out of the relationship in a way where you maybe didn't see it coming. It feels very sudden. It feels like it's happened quickly, dramatically. And I don't feel like there's been any time for the dust to settle for this person to really explain why. I don't feel like this person has hung around in this situation. I feel this has happened very quickly. They've just decided they want to get out. And they've moved on in a way that really hasn't left any time for resolution, explanation. I feel that this person just didn't feel that it was working out for them. They've given you very basic, baseline reasons for wanting to go, that this is a situation that they didn't feel that was grounded enough for them to move on, that they feel that they just need to go. They couldn't wait. I don't feel that you've seen this coming. I don't feel that you've come to terms with what they're saying. It feels quite extraordinary in terms of this being a very fast-moving, fast-paced, very dynamic situation that has caught you by surprise. It's pulled the rug out from underneath your feet. I feel like this person has moved on very quickly. Maybe they've relocated, moved away. Maybe they haven't let you know where they're going, haven't left a forwarding address, so to speak, that you haven't heard from them, maybe on social media, by text, by phone. It just feels like they've moved on and it's happened very quickly. I feel like this has left you standing in the dust. There's been no care, there's been no tenderness, there's been no attempt to make sure that you're okay. I just feel like this person has done a real disconnect. You know, they've yanked the cord out of the wall, turned off the power. It just feels very black and white. Everything was kind of going okay, and then all of a sudden, boom, you know, that's it. It's all over. I don't feel like they've given you a real reason here. You know, there's been real no depth of discussion. I feel like it's very much been all about them and what they've wanted, what they've needed. And in many ways, when this has happened, I feel like it's almost like they can't wait to get out. You know, like it reads very impactfully in terms of how this has been absorbed by you. You know, like if I come down here to the world and the 10 of Cups, I feel by contrast, you know, like this has completely upended your world in a way where everything's turned upside down. You know, like I just feel, I feel like everything you thought, felt or desired has been completely trashed. I feel like you're looking at this situation and going, but what we have, everything is really amazing. Why would you do this? You're just kind of left in this experience where everything was and still is, in terms of the feeling, okay. I don't feel like you've seen this coming. I feel like you've been left holding what you thought you had on your own. It feels like a case of abandonment, that this person just got up and left you with the life that you once had with this person, and you thought that everything was okay. Or your hopes, your desires, your sense of normality, your sense of the relationship has just completely gone. I feel like you haven't been able to get your head around it. It's like this chasmic polarity of two different experiences. This person saying that it's not working for them, that they want to go. They've done a disconnect. They haven't given you any feeling or kind of experience of just working through anything. I don't feel like there's been an opportunity for you to really reason with this person as to what's going on, and that you've been sort of left standing there having to wear their decision that has been very impactful and very fast moving. I feel like here in this situation you're almost saying within yourself, and maybe even to this person, that they'll come around. They'll figure this out. They'll see sense in what they're doing. That what we've got is it's really amazing. Everything's really good. I just don't see that you see that there's any convincing argument or experience that says that we shouldn't be together. I feel that you're convinced that they will come to their senses, that your worlds are completely intertwined. I feel like the polarity, the sense of disconnect, the abandonment is so harsh. This person has just yanked something away from you in a way where they've completely severed the line, and all of a sudden you're just left there sort of telling yourself that that it's going to work out, that everything will be okay. I think that you're kind of constantly reinforcing your word. I feel like maybe other people around you are saying it's going to be okay. That they'll come to their senses. And so you're left with hope. I think that's the thing, is that you haven't given up on this person, that you're left with a hopeful embrace that we can pull this together, that this person will come to their senses. If I come up here to the Hangman and the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like this person in the current position is really holding back in a way where they're not communicating directly, but I do feel like there is some kind of indirect communication going on in a way that is trying to check where you're at. I feel that is through other people, that they've got their eye on you. And maybe that's kind of going in both directions. I wonder whether the people that that once kind of knitted the both of you together are kind of, communicating observations, hearsay, gossip even. I do feel like you're keeping tabs on each other. That could also be to do with social media as well, like maybe checking each other out in terms of where things are at, what you're actually up to. I don't feel like this person has fully let go. I feel like they've still very much got a grasp on who you are, what you meant to them. I feel like they're wanting to know how you are, what you're up to, but at the same time, I don't feel like this person is unable to. I don't feel like they're able to kind of step forward and confront you about what it is that they've actually done. I feel like this person has pulled back into their world in a way where they're really focusing in on themselves, on their own development, on their own inner world. I feel like this person is having some kind of a moment in time where they're really trying to get a grasp on where they're at in their life. I feel like they feel they've had to re-establish themselves in order to kind of take a moment to kind of reflect on what's going on for them at a deeper level. I feel like right now this person can't make the sacrifice to communicate with you, to reach out to you. I think they're very absorbed in their own development in terms of what they're all about at this point in time. I think that that's a priority to them. Here with the Nine of Pentacles, it's definitely a card of self-worth, development. It's a reflective card in terms of understanding capacity and capability, about what it is you really want in the world of yourself. Here with the Hangman, once again, definitely a very meditative card that kind of is introvertly trying to understand where things are at from maybe a more spiritual point of view. I feel like this person feels very held back in their life, held back by themselves, held back by their circumstances. I feel like they're in a state of limbo. Something has really struck at a very deep chord over here with the Tower and the Knight of Wands. I feel like there has been some kind of inspiration, like an unleashing or an ignition of some sort that has really forced this person to feel that they're not coping. Here with the Tower, everything has really fallen to pieces. It's crumbled in terms of what they thought they knew, and they've kind of panicked. I feel they've panicked and they've had to escape their circumstances, their situation, in a way that darts out the door, flies out the door, flies away even, escapes the situation that they can't comprehend. Everything was fine and now it's not. I feel like this has happened very quickly for this person as much as it's happened very quickly for you. I feel like this is a kind of holding pattern here, and the Hangman and the Nine of Pentacles. I feel like this person is reflectively trying to put the pieces together to reestablish themselves, to get a footing on what their life is all about. Very much the meaning of life for me. I feel like this is actually quite deep-seated in terms of this person's personal process. It's very much about them. It's about what's going on for them in their world at a very deep personal level. I don't feel that this is about you, even though you're impacted by this. I feel this is definitely a spiritual awakening of some sort, and I feel that this person definitely cares about you, but they can't deal with you at the same time. I don't feel like they can deal with what they left behind, about where it is that you're actually at. There's an acknowledgement of what it is that's happened, but at the same time, there's definitely no remorse there at this point in time. I think this person is essentially just calibrating, and their priority is themselves, without a doubt. I think that they accept this actually had to happen at this time. If you come down here to the Devil and the Three of Cups, I feel that you, in response to where things are at in the current position, you feel really robbed of happiness. But there's also a definite sense of resentment, like indignation. I think you're really offended on another level as well. It's just like there are all of these really piercing, very negatively charged emotions, thoughts, feelings that culminate into this baseline of mistrust for this person, that they've robbed you of your happiness, and that you really desire some kind of retribution. I think that you want this person to feel the same way as you. I think you want to rob them of their happiness. There's a sense of wanting to get revenge here. I think also here, I feel you don't want them to know how it is that you feel deep down. I think if you were to bump into them into the street, or if somebody was to say something to them, I think you would want them to think or feel or to perceive that you're okay, that everything's fine, I'm happy. Underneath that here with the Devil, there's definitely a sense of mistrust, that nothing that they could do would change your mind. I feel like if they were to contact you, you would just make out like everything is okay. I think there's a lot going on here with these two cards, because I think in that mix, I feel also there's an enormous desire to be happy with this person again. I think you're longing to be close. I feel like a real, maybe even a sexual charge here, an attraction to this person, maybe missing the good times that you actually had, missing the closeness that you had, missing the intimacy, the sexuality. You're still very attracted to this person in a way where I feel like you miss that of them. But at the same time, then it flips into this kind of, almost like a hatred of them, like their selfishness has destroyed everything that you had to be happy about. It's a very love-hate process. I feel like you're grieved by loss and desire at the same time. There is heightened emotion, there is heightened desire, there is heightened, but at the same time, there's also like a heightened sense of revenge and wanting to get back at them, and wanting to destroy their happiness, wanting to undermine everything that they've got in terms of the potential for them to feel good about themselves. I do feel that this person is going to make contact, absolutely, 100%. If I come up here to strengthen the 5 of Cups, I feel that this person is going to make contact in the coming months. And I feel like this person is going to make an outright apology to you in a way where I think finally this person comes to terms with their own grief in a way where this emerges in a sort of fully recognized understanding of how this has impacted upon you. I think this person is going to apologize. They'll make contact, apologize to you in a way that acknowledges the pain and sorrow that's been inflicted upon you. I think they're going to be very sorry of that. I think there's an explanation there for all of that in a way that perhaps gives a much more deeply considered basis to provide insight as to why this person has had to go. I think this person will say to you here in this framework that they've been unable to be present in the relationship in a way that has given them the truth of connection with you, that they've been going through the motions. I think this is a very sort of reflective internalization and these feelings, these thoughts come together in a way that really articulate like a sense of unhappiness here, that they were unhappy in the relationship, unhappy within themselves, that they were unable to go on in a way that met you or was able to see you as an equal. I think this is somebody who was actually saying here that they had to act on their instinct, that they couldn't give you a reason in the past because it wasn't clear to them. And that they never wanted to hurt you, but that they had to follow that path. They had to follow what felt right to them. I think this person's going to want to get back together with you. I really do. I feel this person is going to offer an openness, the opportunity to reconnect in the future in a way that is very sensitive and articulate to you and about the possibility of reconnecting. I think without expectation, though. I think this person definitely knows that you're really hurt here. I think they can see this in the future in a way where they've come to terms with their own process, and that what follows that is a deeper reflective understanding of what happened within the relationship in a way that honors you and honors what you both had together. I think this person will show remorse, will show a true side of themselves that offers insight into their reasons for having to do what they did. And I think that is not something that will be easy for you or for that person. But the truth comes out here for me. And if I come back over here to the Tower and the Knight of Wands, this happened so quickly. I don't feel that there was a rational reason as to why this person really thought that they had to get out other than to follow the feeling that they just couldn't do this anymore. It feels suffocative. It feels explosive. It feels like they just had to fly with it. It was a now or never moment, that if they didn't do it now, they would never do it. So they just had to follow that. And I feel that the place they're in at the moment here with the Hangman and the Nine of Pentacles, that this is the process or period of sort of consolidation. And although that doesn't make you priority number one, it's still very much about themselves and them coming to terms of where they're at, about who it is they are as a person, the crisis that they're actually having within in terms of their identity and spirituality, about what they really want in a relationship, about what they really want in the world, about how they want to develop themselves as a person and how they can share of themselves with somebody. I think that is the crux of it at this point in time. And I think previously you've been so invested into this person in a way that there was never a doubt for you. You've always felt that this person was home, that they were family, that this was your place of belonging, that this was your future, this was your world. And the flip side of not having that because of what's happened and without explanation has left you feeling so bitter and resentful as to what it is that they've done to you. And I feel here with Death and the Ten of Swords, I feel in the future here, your response to this person is a hard no. You're going to say, no way, it's over. I don't trust you. Get lost. Go away. I think that you'll actually give the hard hand to this person in a way that refuses to accept their offer of reconciliation, this offer of a potential for you both to get back together in some way. I think that you'll be unable to hear this person and what it is that they're saying. I don't think that the words will land in your ears in a way that takes them into your heart. I think that you'll react in a very hard way, that you feel that you've moved on. I think the pain of what it is that's happened will flare up in a way where you feel that it's as fresh today as it was back in the past when this actually happened. And I also think that there are here with the swords is this sense of wanting to get revenge because of the pain and suffering that you've actually inflicted upon me. I feel that you'll want to hurt them by telling them things opportunistically that cause them to feel the kind of pain that you've actually had to go through for yourself. I think you want to bring some kind of darkness to this situation that kind of, that keeps a score, that evens it up a little bit. I think for you, you're going to say that this is the end of the road and that you never want to be with them. And I think also this is also a break moment, a moment in time where you're looking all of a sudden beyond this relationship that you once had into the future in a way that says there is a new future here on the horizon. So although the Ten of Swords is a very dramatic end of the road card, you kind of know where you're at with this card and this situation. I feel like you're sort of saying to yourself here that, you're over the hump. It's downhill from here. My healing can now begin because I've kind of come to a point where I've actually heard the reasons for why this person couldn't be with me at that time. And that you're ready for something new. There's a sense of wanting to leave them and your old life behind, that it's a new beginning and an opportunity for some kind of reinvention of yourself that doesn't include this person. So I do feel that you're going to move on from this in a way where you're going to turn your back on this person. But I want to play devil's advocate here. I feel like the love and connection that you feel of this person here in the beginning, or in the past, at the beginning of the reading at least, I feel like that is genuine, that there is a love there that is unconditional. But I feel that things become progressively conditional for you in a way that switches off to this person, that you have made your mind up that you won't forgive them, that the pain has been so great that is cause for you to never let them into your experience ever again, that you've lost trust in this person. But I also feel at the same time that this person has actually found their way back to you here in the future in a way that says, I found my heart with you in a way that is unconditional. And although this person doesn't expect anything out of that situation, I think by turning your back on them, out of pain, out of suffering, is also turning your back on your heart for this person. I think being so hard and turning your back, it's almost like cutting your nose off to spite your face. I think there is an opportunity, at the very least, to find some kind of healing with this person that honors the relationship that you most probably don't want. But that you're both worth that you're both worth decency. For my Patreon followers, if you'd like to hold for a moment, I will be with you in a second. For everybody else, if you'd like to go down below and hit subscribe, tap on the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for any future things that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is that I do, and how it is you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care. Hi everyone, welcome to symbol number 2. This is your reading. We're looking at this person and whether they're going to reach out. It's a no contact situation today. So let's jump in, start over here with the Devil and the Two of Cups, looking at the other person in the past. Get a very intensive period of really strong attraction between you and this person. I feel like you've been thrown into the deep end with each other in a way that has really soaked each other up and gotten to know each other in a very attraction-fueled way. It feels like the two of you have kind of hit the ground running in terms of meeting each other and getting to know each other really quickly. I feel like this is a very intensive connection that has ignited, and that you can't get enough of each other in a way that is fueled by many different types of attraction. I feel like there's a very intensive emotional attraction, but I also feel a very strong physical attraction here between the both of you. I feel like you can't keep your hands off of each other. I feel like you can't say no to each other. I feel like you're all over each other in a way that is very, very bonding, very equal as well. I just feel like the two of you are really into each other here in a way that just is very strong, and at times maybe even overpowering, but in a kind of toxic way. It's sort of feels like you can't get enough of each other and that you want more. I feel like this person's been really into you and pushed very hard to see you at every opportunity. I feel this is a very infectious connection that feels addictive at times. I feel like you're always left wanting more. I don't feel like you're ever really deconstructing or disconnecting. It always feels like there's a plan to meet up, and it just doesn't feel like there's any time in between seeing each other. I just feel like it's push. You can't get to see enough of each other, and that you're pushing for that next moment of just having an opportunity to express the attraction, to express the feeling, to experience something that feels really amazing. I just feel here that you're seeing each other. If it's not every day, you're definitely calling each other every day, or texting, or keeping in touch in a way that just kind of keeps it pushing along. I don't feel that this is a long period of time. I feel like you've met each other. There's been like an explosion of energy that has really expressed a very intensive connection, and that you've both dived into the deep end without really thinking about that too much. I do feel like you've spent a lot of time with each other without a break at various times. I feel down here with Strength and the Ace of Cups, I feel like you have been completely swept off your feet by this person in a way that brings up a lot of strong emotions that makes you feel that this could be the one. Here with the Ace of Cups, I just feel like maybe you're looking at this person in a very spiritual way as well. I feel like you're open to wherever this is going. Strength is definitely expressing an enormous amount of passion. There's a very strong mind-body connection here with this person in a way that makes you feel that you're connecting at a deeper soul level. I feel like there are times, however, with Strength, that you're trying to pull yourself back. You can see what's happening here in terms of how this makes you feel. That this is very physical, very emotional, very deep. I think you're trying not to let yourself get caught up in it all. But at the same time, I think this person just makes you feel really amazing. I mean, these are really beautiful cards, and I feel that this has brought something out in you in a way that maybe you've never experienced this before. This feeling, this sense of potential, this sense of connection. I feel like maybe this person has come along at the right time for you in a way that just feels that this is a moment in time and space that you could just throw caution to the wind and just really completely and utterly go for it. I feel like you are convinced that this person is being really honest with you, that what you're experiencing with this person is real. I think that you feel that you can be really honest with this person in a way that maybe you've never been honest with anybody else before. I think this person brings out something in you that is quite gentle and poetic and maybe even creative or artistically driven. I just feel it brings up an enormous amount of appreciation as to an experience that you're having with them in a way that leaves you to think and feel quite joyous. And so I feel that this has been a really amazing experience for you and for this other person. I definitely get a sense here that you're trying to play it really cool at the same time. I here with strength, you're really trying to control yourself here in a way that doesn't give too much away. I don't necessarily say that you're playing it so cool that you're putting this person off. I don't feel that that means that you're being cautious in a way that says that you feel that there's danger here either. I think that you're just trying to kind of savor the moment. You're trying to relish this experience. I don't feel like you've really felt like this before, had this experience before. So all in all, it's been a very intensive, full-on, all-in experience in a way that the two of you have really gotten to know each other, and I feel like this has brought up a huge amount in terms of how you feel about each other and about the possibility of what you're experiencing. But if we come over here to the Hangman and the Five of Cups, this person's definitely pulled back, and I feel that this person has turned everything off without any explanation either. I just feel like this person has put on the brakes, and all of a sudden I feel like they blocked you. That could be literal, like maybe that person's blocked you on social media, blocked you energetically perhaps. I just feel like this person has pulled down the shutters, that they're not actually giving you anything anymore. And I feel like this person has gone into their shell, withdrawn into their own very personal world that you're not a part of. I feel that this is somebody who is dealing with some very deep personal stuff that is causing them to reflect on other relationships in their world. I feel like this person is unable to face you at this time in a way that gives you some kind of explanation, some sort of a reason as to why it is that they've actually had to pull back. I think this person is playing a very strong move here in terms of drawing a line. They've been very real about what they can't give to you at this time. I feel like this person's hiding from you in some ways. I feel that they've decided they have to cloak themselves, cloak their situation, cloak their world to keep you out. I have to be honest with you though here. I feel like this is two sides of a story. I feel like that this person is cloaking you from their inner world, but I feel like they're also cloaking somebody else here in a way that pushes you or stops others from seeing you. I feel like they're hiding you from their lives and they're hiding others from yours. There's a sense of division here of two separate lives. I feel like this person is absorbed by other people's emotional energies. If I come back over here to the Devil and the Two of Cups, and this has been a really amazing and very intensive process. I feel like the two of you have gotten to know each other very honestly, very intensely, but at the same time, the devil is playing a hand here in a way where there is a degree of dishonesty, a high degree of dishonesty in terms of what this person is bringing to you. I feel like this is definitely a situation where this person has a separate life, that they are playing behind somebody else's back. And I feel that by about this point here with the Hangman, that their actions, their intensive emotional experience with you has caught up with them in a way that has left them to meditate upon the reality of what that actually means. I feel that this person has become intensively emotionally connected to you in a way where they realize that this is going in a direction that perhaps they have to put the brakes on. I feel like there's a lot of disappointment, a lot of sadness here in a way that this person is longing and pining for you, that the fact they've actually had to create this sense of division between you and them and their world has caused them a lot of emotional pain. I feel like this person is suffering, that they are feeling sorrow, that they miss you, that they long for you. I think this person is definitely thinking about you, and that their emotional connection to you has not phased out in any way whatsoever. I feel that this experience that you have had together has actually been very real and it has been tangible. But at the same time, I don't feel that this person can face you because there is some sort of emotional baggage that they can't let go of to show to you in a way that gives you full insight into what it is that's going on. I feel that if they were to do that, that would actually divulge something that would be very difficult to deal with. Down here with the Emperor and the Five of Wands. I feel your response to what's going on at this time is one where you're really determined to know what's going on. I feel like you've rallied the troops in terms of maybe positioning your friends, your connections, anybody who knows this person, that you are getting them to fight your corner. Maybe that you're getting them and other people to put out the feelers to find out what's going on with this person, that you've refused to give up on this person. And the potential of what is it you actually experience with them. I feel like you've come out fighting here in a way that has said, you know, I'm angry at what's happening here. You know, the Emperor is definitely an aggressive, angry energy. You know, like it's determined, it's confronting, it can and can be very overbearing if it needs to be. And here with the Five of Wands, there is a sense here that you're up for a fight. You're up for the fight to find out what's going on with this person. I think that you feel very passionate in terms of a fighting spirit to get to the bottom of what's going on. There is a sense of indignation here as well. I think this has really flared up your energy. I feel like your blood is boiling. That you're reacting to this situation in a way that says, how dare you do this to me? How dare you block me? How dare you blank me? How dare you cut me out of the picture? I think also here, I feel there's a sense of you saying, what are you doing? Do you think you can walk all over me? I'm not going to take this. You know, I'm not going to be walked over. You know, you've picked yourself up, you've brushed yourself off, you've channeled this incredible sense of connection to this person, this feeling that they brought up in you in a way that makes you feel incredibly passionate. You feel that this is worth fighting for. You really want this person to be a part of your world. The fact that they've actually blocked you has left you in the balance in a way that is all guns blazing, prepared to fight for what it is that you really want. You know, there's a lot of passion going on here. So I feel like you're keeping the relationship alive, keeping the connection going in a way where you're channeling all of your resources. I feel like you're putting people to the test. You're putting people to work here in a way that is trying to figure out what's going on. I feel like you have friends, connections here who are trying to understand what's going on your behalf. And I feel like you're digging your heels in and facing the fact that they've actually deserted you in a way that won't take that. I think you're digging your heels in. You're not prepared to let them go, and to pretend that this didn't happen. Essentially, where's this all going to go? If we look to the outcome here in terms of this person's timeline, here with Temperance and the Page of Swords, I feel like here in the future that this person can't stop thinking about you and about what it is that you actually experience with them. Here with Temperance, there's definitely this strong sense of spiritual connection going on still. This person's looking to the past here with the Page of Swords, reflecting on the history of connecting with you and how intensive that was. But this person's really worried as well here with the Page of Swords. You know, they're worried about what that means. I mean, you know, this fact that you've become so close together, that you had such an intensive experience, has unhinged them in some ways, because they've realized that they're on the back foot here, that they could get into trouble for this. Yeah, this is looking to the past here with the Devil and the Two of Cups. You know, this is a relationship that is not ignited on full honesty. This person has entered into the scene with you in a way where they're hiding something. They're not telling you the full truth. There's somebody else here behind the scenes. there's something else going on in this person's world that they're not actually being upfront about. And it could swing both ways. You could find out about that, or the person or the situation that they're in, they could find out about that. I feel there's a lot of worry here, but there's also, I think this inability to let go what you actually experienced together, like the recognition that this was a truth. That you had this really amazing experience, that it was very close and very spiritual. I feel like this person really misses you and misses the connection that you actually have. I think also this person continues to keep you at a distance. I don't feel that they're going to reach out. I don't feel that they're going to connect to you and in a way that contacts you. I don't feel that this person has the guts, has the courage. Here with the Page of Swords, this person's hiding. I feel like they've internalized the experience that they actually have with you, that they're prepared to sit with that in a way where they keep it alive within themselves, but they don't act on it. There's no action here. There's no externalization of this experience in a way that fights for you, that reconnects to you, that actually says, I want more of that. I feel there is an inability to be able to balance you in their world here in the future in a way that is honest and articulate in an open way that outs that connection that you actually have, that this person continues to hide their history, continues to hide you and the experience that they had of you, that they keep it internalized in a way where it's just a memory. I don't feel that this person is going to do anything about this. If I come down here to the Lovers and the Six of Cups, I feel here there's a real sense of missing this person in a way that feels that you've been shortchanged and that you never got to experience more than this kind of, superficial experience on one hand that was very intensive. I say superficial because you didn't get to have more. Yeah, I feel it all starts to feel like a bit of a dream. Is what I'm trying to say. You're unable to discern the reality of the experience that you actually had in the past with this person. It feels poetic here with the Six of Cups. The Lovers is indicating this connection that you actually had that feels reflectively very poetic, but at the same time, this is a superficial card. It's like, was it real? There are questions over the actual depth of the experience in a way where a part of you feels maybe that you were taken for a ride, but another part of you also feels that this was a really beautiful experience. So it's real and it's not real. But I do feel that you're going to bump into this person here with the Lovers and the Six of Cups. I feel like you're going to bump into this person by chance in a very unexpected way. I feel that when you see this person, that there is going to be no real explanation as to what it is that they did or how it is that it ended up the way that it ended up. I don't feel like there is any depth of conversation, depth of reconnection here in the future in a way that gives you a sense of truly understanding why this person didn't contact you. I feel like this is a kind of almost like an awkward situation here with the Six of Cups, where this person is telling you lots of things that are very digestible in terms of half truths. They're not confronting this head on in a way that gives you hard hitting explanations, experiences. I feel this person is going to touch on a lot of things with you in a way that kind of awkwardly soothes over the experience with white lies and half truths. I feel the connection is still there. I mean, I really do feel here with the Lovers that this attraction is definitely still there in a way where I feel like the attraction is very much alive, but I don't feel that this person will go beyond that superficial experience of bumping into you and moving on. I feel that you're left with a feeling of uneasiness here. And I think ultimately for me, I think that the bottom line is that seeing this person again in this context is something that actually does give you comfort, because you have a feeling here when they walk away that there is a sense of mistrust about who it is that they are as a person. It kind of gives you answers without giving you answers. For my Patreon followers, if you'd like to hold for a moment, I'll be with you in a second. For everybody else, if you want to go down below and hit subscribe, and tap on the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for any future readings that I post. Please like and share this video where you can. And if you're interested in the services that I offer as a psychic tarot reader, you can go to www.tonyfoxtarot.com. There's plenty of information about who it is that I am, what it is I do, and how you can access my service as a psychic tarot reader. Thanks very much and take care.